Go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, reptoids and animals, gorillas, bats, dolphins, and vegetarian sharks, to the Kiln Podcast, episode 23.
Ooh.
I know. We're almost up to episode 25. We're almost
23.
halfway to 50.
Almost.
Yes. Welcome to the new time slot of Sunday nights, whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially what it's become. But other than that, we're missing someone. Last week was the first time Caleb missed an episode. He even still had a cameo in it.
I did.
You had like a cameo that didn't even last a minute, but like it was you still existed to some degree in it.
Yeah, I came in and gave my piece.
Yeah.
That was it. That was my intention. I gave my say and that was it. That's it.
Yep.
It was only a second,
Well, here we
but that was enough.
Wait. Are you feeling kind of weird? I feel like something strange is happening. Oh god. Oh my god.
What strange thing is happening?
What's happened to the stream? Oh no. There's some magic happening. Oh god.
What the
Oh, that's better.
What is what? What? This is beautiful. What am I? What? Jesus. Righto. We have transformed. We have.
There's something weird going on.
Fucking Tinkerbell. Man,
Smashing Tinkerbell kind of just
Smashing
came in.
Tinkerbell.
And it was some weird shit. Like, if you're a listener, that's what happened. We changed forms. We've ascended.
We have become more.
This is what Alex gets for not being here. He's missed too many episodes. So and he was the reason that we didn't do Sunday night last week. So this is the reason. It encouraged me to draw have a little bit more quality behind profile pictures than just the shit little drawings I did back when we started. I mean, like, new year, new pictures. I'm thinking that's looking good. If you noticed that I gave you the accelerator shirt.
Yeah. I like that. I very much like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, I gotta keep you wearing the Umaru shit.
Yes. I don't have it yet, my grandparents, but it is at my house.
Things change.
Yeah.
Things change.
The world is ever fluid.
Yeah. The big ball of timey-wimey stuff.
That is true. Timey-wimey stuff does make stuff different at times.
Man, Tinkerbell, man. Like, wasn't even Phaeton who changed us. Just like, Tinkerbell just kind of came in and just kind of was like, here, and now we changed.
Yep. He did.
That's honestly, like, part of the reason, like, I can't want to do this, because I feel like I talk to you a lot more about, like, professions and things like we aspire to possibly be. We have a lot more chats about that, so that's why I like titled this episode Artist versus the Tech Guy, because he didn't even have a title.
I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what general term you would use.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to say IT professional because I am not working professionally in IT yet.
And I'm not a professional designer yet, so I'm resulted to being an artist.
But at least artist is still like something that covers it all. I don't tech guy, IT guy. They just
There's no word to just be like computer nerd. You got
yes.
There's no real like
yes.
There's no real certified thing that just defines it, and it's weird. Yeah, just right.
Yeah.
And also like that is also one of the things. Like, okay, I'm an artist, and I was thinking about this to myself. All right, and we even had a little discussion before about like how artists can mean different things. I'm an artist in the traditional sense of drawing. Yeah. And even beyond that, the way I do shit and the way I draw, I would not recommend it. Like I would I don't know what I would do if someone like came to me and told me that like I inspired them to draw and to work harder, because I sit around and I'm stressed. I am stressed majority of the time, and literally most of what I do in my downtime is just either read like comics or manga, which helps me visualize things even better because I'm actually looking at an art form, or I'm just working on ideas of drawings. Like today, I just came up with a random idea to draw the same picture, but with my right hand versus my left hand.
No.
It turned out better than what I thought it would, but my left hand is still fucked.
It's funny because I think we're also talking about how there's some overlap, and it's funny because a little bit of that is
There is
something
that.
I've been experiencing because the other day, I wanted to to get better at another language, another programming language. I wanted to write the same program in that language,
Mm,
and I began to try and figure out how to do it, and then the first part of it didn't fucking work, so I immediately fucking gave up
damn.
because it is. I mean, and again, I wouldn't like if you want to, program and shit, do it, but it's a pain in the fucking ass
Mm.
when one single little thing, and all of a sudden the entire thing is just like fucking no, don't do this, it's not gonna work, and then spending like fucking hours trying to figure out something, and then it being just a dot,
Uh,
just being, oh yes, you have one too many brackets, that is why this entire fucking program just does not work.
I I think with me sometimes it can be very different because like I do prefer to do things at least on a schedule or
Yeah,
somewhat.
true.
Like I was doing daily posts on Instagram like for majority of last year, and now like I've
Mm.
skipped to weekly, and like people can come at me and say like I took like 2 months off drawing because I wasn't posting to Instagram because I really wasn't. I posted like 2 drawings on Instagram, but during that whole time I was posting to Patreon and getting Patreon
Mm.
ahead of my thing, and that's also along with other crap that I'm doing like exclusive art only for Patreon. So like, I
Yeah.
have all this other crap that I'd have to do, and then of course I do a lot of the work for the kiln. That's one thing. I think about different ideas and different things and different ways we can do episodes, and even just possible ways we could add to the kiln Patreon little tab that's unique.
Mm.
Yeah, and just little things like that. And like I am very stressed, and then with this stress, I of course I'm on summer holidays, so like at
Yeah.
least there's more time to kind of play around and fuck around. But like tomorrow, I start a job. I start a real job, which is just gonna add on stress, and then I start school the following week, which again add on stress. And then of course, obviously being there and hanging out with my friends, and even just being a viable option to talk to, or someone who can be there whenever you need them. I'm stressed about my own personal relationships. I have a lot of stresses in my life. So like if you but I it's hard to say because as negative as I am talking about this, like it is one of those things that I just love.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason why I do it. I do love it. As stressed as I get, I love looking at it. And like I remember like seeing like all the artist problems. Like I follow a few artists, they follow me back. I know some artists, and like I see like the troubles they go through. I don't really have like that kind of community that like some other social media kind of artists would have with more people around them. I would like to
Mm.
have that like kind of group and kind of a little bit more friends I can play around with and draw and see what we do and evolve that way. But with COVID and all that crap, it's kind of been shit.
Mm. Mm.
But still, like, I look at art, I see artists create and post. Like, one artist I found recently, I absolutely love his works. His work is fucking insane. He does this hand done, like, Naruto perspective drawings. And I
Right.
honestly don't know his name because I haven't translated it yet because he's Japanese. Like I'll send a link and you can
Mm.
look at his stuff. Uh, I'll just put in
Yeah.
yeah. Like his ad is Itokazu Tiger. He does amazing shit. You go through fucking sick. You can like look at like his pinned message, like go through those 4 images. You can see like the quality of work he does, and like that kind of helps him.
Ah,
It's like
yeah, yeah.
it's just like getting inspired of other things. You never know when inspiration's gonna come. Like you have this person doing, and of course, like this person, he does it more casually. He does it in his own pace. Whereas I'm a fuckhead and I just charge ahead forward because I'm so regimented that I need to get shit done, and I have no time for breaks. Because if I'm doing a break, then I'm drawing. That's it. That's it. I don't get a break. I'm drawing. And then, of course, obviously doing physical exercise, which I often do every single day, some sort of exercise. Um, it just it's very stressful. And I was even thinking about this today. It's like how you define yourself as like a introvert and extrovert. I feel like if most people were to like say to me like, "What am I?" I feel like majority of people would call me an introvert, but I feel like I
Mm.
have a mixture of both because an extrovert really like absorbs energy from the people around them and they can get excitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I am partially that, but I'm heavily introverted as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And like I was even thinking about this today, and you know the whole like half glass full, half empty
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
shit. In my head, I'm thinking, what will I do in this situation? I would drink the water. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna drink the water. I don't care if it's half empty or half full. I'll just drink it. Then it's empty. Okay? I'll pour another drink into it.
There's this there's this good quote um uh by George Carlin where he says some people see the glass half full, others see it half empty. I just see a glass that's twice as big as it needs to be, which I think is a very interesting way of looking at it.
Mm. Yeah, that is it. But I'm still thinking like, let's just drink it. I don't care. Just drink it. Like, what more is it to it? Yeah.
Just drink it.
But that
Who
is one
cares
of
if it's
those
half?
things where it's like I do see a lot of artists and like a lot of us work hard and there's the whole shit of like getting their shit stolen and plagiarized and blah blah
Yeah, true.
blah and reposting and nah. But then it's like on some spectrum when you are an artist and you are doing specific art like fan art, it's like there are some rules where it's kind of like, well, what do you say in this situation? Like
Mm.
I'm an artist, and like sometimes I even see like there's a huge gray area because it's like, oh, you took my art and you took someone else's characters. I can make the same argument back.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if it's someone's like OC, a different story because that's an original character. They did that. That's them.
yeah, yeah.
But if it's like, oh, I'm gonna draw Luffy. Oh, you stole my work for just to like show people. It's like, yeah. Oh, so what you should be asking realistically a lot of times is like for credit, not just like hide your work if you're doing
Mm.
fan art. And I'm one of those people who honestly doesn't really care a lot. I will appreciate getting a shout out. Sorry, I'll appreciate getting a shout out, but like I'm not gonna sit there crying about it.
Mm. Mm.
Like my tags on it, that's good enough for me.
True. But they can always crop the tag, which some people do.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I
that's why
think
you put it in these in hard to crop places.
yeah, it's that, and also like I watermark mine.
Yeah.
I
God, yeah.
watermark mine, so like I just kind of like put it over the top, and it's a lot bigger now and more pronounced.
Mm.
So it's in it a lot more. Like I did this
Yeah.
piece like a couple of days ago that will be on my Patreon tomorrow. And it had a lot like spray paint effects, like because there was a brick wall in the scene. So I just
Mm.
tagged my own thing as like the as a like as a
Ah,
spray paint thing on it.
that's a
So it's part of the art.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Like little ways of when you can make your shit part of the art, not just like when you see comic book artists, they have that little like note flying in the wind and has their signature on it.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. I don't think that's interesting or cool. It's just kind of it's a piece of paper.
Just sort of inserting it.
It's not inventive. It's not creative. Like how like you and Alex like reacting to the Bleach kind of like chapter covers, where like there was a lot of like creative perspective work done by Kubo, like and with like the Bleach title and the chapter number, a lot of the times that you were impressed with, as well as to see how far an artist can come in like all his years of working, as well. Now that's one thing that like as manga as a medium is quite impressive. Is like you will have those people who start from basically nothing, and you really get to see how comfortable they get with drawing. And creating and working, like especially if you're a mangaka, then the industry is fucked for your health. I'm already fucking myself over with my health just out of stress, but that's a different story. I'm choosing to do that. Of course, the mangakas are also choosing it, but like people like fully like, there's a lot of illness that comes with being a mangaka. Not a lot of pay if you don't have like a big series. And there's kind of like all these little things where it's like
you have to do it for love.
You purely have to do it for love. And if you don't love what you're doing, then your work will suffer at the end of the day. And like even just being an artist, like one of the things I always get annoyed at, and like I always see like other artists make like little posts and shit about like spends 20 minutes on an artwork, 100 likes. Spends 5-6 hours on an artwork, 12 likes. And it's sad, but it has happened to me. I've experienced that. I have a shit artwork that came out like in December of last year. I'll find it and see how many likes it actually has right now. Good thing I haven't posted a lot this year, so I can easily find it. Yep, found it. It has 228 likes. It's not a very good piece. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I just kind of drew it, and that was it. It's not impressive. It's not inventive. It's not unique. It's just a picture of the character from the anime. It's just like a screenshot from there, and then I just drew it. And that was it. And then I go to like some ones where it's like, I know how much time I spent with works. I know how much time I put in the effort, and those typically are my favorite pieces. Are the ones where it's like I can see the least amount of flaws, because oftentimes for a lot of artists, you are kind of your own critic. You are your own biggest enemy. And one of the things I think is working for me as well is like I roughly try to avoid calling myself an artist over the last couple of years. I am one, but I don't know what it was. It's more because I was seeking a path of higher kind of thing, a higher level of study with being a designer, which I technically am as well. But like I prefer the status of designer, because obviously you and I were talking about how certain things have different ideas and like how people idea it or suggest like what this is. Like you can be a person, you can make a sign, you can write words on that sign to protest whatever. You yourself are technically a designer. However, a lot of people wouldn't consider themselves designers in that way because they think of it as a profession. Whereas an artist is something that can be a profession, but it can also just be something casual and crafty, and it has a whole lot more meanings behind art than there is to design. Design is very straightforward in like the elements, the principles. It's very straightforward. You know what you're doing. You go off and do it. But with art, there are a lot of like subcategories where you could be an artist and draw. You could be a painter. You could paint with oils. You can do charcoal. You can do crayon. I don't really know Crayola. But you can also be more than that. Like you can be an artist as a songwriter, a singer, someone who creates music, a filmmaker. Like technically, I would suggest that everyone in the kiln is an artist in some way.
Technically, yeah. Because like technically, if I get up a text document now and start writing in HTML and CSS, technically I am an artist or a designer or artist, whatever, because I'm designing and creating a visual web page,
Yeah.
right? So technically, and it's crazy how so many things you could attribute to artistry,
Mm.
even combat. I mean, like the art of war, martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, even they get the title of art,
I
which I
like
find really
one of
interesting.
the ideas I like. It was from a cartoon, but I really like the idea. Like there was this sword master, right, and he's teaching someone how to use the sword, a novice, and
Mm.
like he's first teaching him to paint, because just because he
Mm.
states just like on the battlefield, you can't take back a brush stroke. You
Yeah,
can't take back a swing of your sword in the moment. If you
true.
fuck up, you're dead. And like he did that to painting. It's like in the moment you fuck up, you're dead. Well, not in terms of painting, unless you're painting with some weird toxic chemicals.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That is one
But
of
yeah,
the things.
that is very that is a very interesting analogy.
Mm.
But then again, I mean, I think that's what makes some paintings very interesting. Paintings that aren't like,
Mm.
because of course you got pictures and all that that are very clean and specific and
Yeah,
not realistic, but the lines aren't wobbly or
yeah,
fluid or whatever. But and those can definitely be seen as very good.
mm.
You look at something like the Mona Lisa, for example, it's just something that's much
Yeah.
more realistic. But then you look at Van Gogh, whose picture is just fucking swirls. But
You go
that
through
is also
Pablo
extremely
Picasso's
amazing.
works,
Yep,
and
yep,
there's so many different ways he did things. There's so many different styles and
mm,
ways to express himself.
yep,
And a lot of other stuff kind of like leads, as long as you're creating something in a format that you are able to express yourself in and express who you are as a person, you are an artist.
yep,
And I was even
yep,
thinking about this today. Like I remember when like you were trying to like be a little bit more like producing like your own music and whatnot.
mm.
And I was just having the idea yesterday. I'm thinking, what if Caleb made a Kiln song? What would he do? What would he
No,
do?
that would be horrible.
What if he made a Kiln song?
But technically, yeah, I have made
Mm.
quote unquote music. Um, but
You strum on the guitar, you're an artist.
technically, technically, yeah. Um, and technically, even just yeah, and I mean, it's crazy how I think in some ways art has become a lot more accessible as well
Mm.
because like with the music example, I've got this little machine that I just press a few buttons, and all of a sudden there's a drum track. All of a
Yeah.
sudden I've created this thing, this piece of music.
Which is now what a lot of people do. It's how music has evolved over the time.
Yep.
Not a lot of people have like live bands unless like you actually are in a fucking band and you're
Mhm.
making the music fully
Mhm.
yourself.
And you can have like now with MIDI. I mean, MIDI's been around for a while, but samples have been getting better. So now you can
Mm.
have music that has been made entirely with a computer, and
Yeah.
it sounds almost as good as as the real thing. I've heard from
Even
my
just
father. I've
even
heard from my father who is
yeah
he's got like connections, and
yeah.
he's been told by drummers that some of the electric drums are almost indistinguishable from the real thing,
Mm.
which is amazing.
I was even just thinking about like even if you're like a singer, you can still like play around with it, change the way your
Yes.
voice sounds
Yep.
through
Yep.
technology, and
Oh, and
there's so much you
and
can do.
and that's the other field too. I mean,
Yeah,
fashion.
fashion.
That's
Yeah,
also a
fashion.
massive field. That whole artistry thing, and
Fashion
I mean,
design. Yeah,
not just clothes, but things like watches and even the design of even almost functional design as well.
craft.
Because you look at many things like a phone, right? There's
Yeah.
obviously a lot of design that goes um, into the phone to
Yes.
make it look a certain way when you're designing. The software, you've got to be like, okay, well, if these people are fucking idiots, how do we make it so that they can easily use the device? How do we make the flow work really well? How do we make it easy to learn? And it's really interesting when people when they go about when design encompasses that. And even I mean, this is getting really fucking. This I would say is probably on the less of on the side of artistry, but it is still a bit of a design thing.
Yeah.
Mathematics, where you have graphs. I mean, part of that is still a design thing
I mean,
where
you can.
you're designing a way to visualize
Yeah.
this particular piece of information because humans are very sensory beings. We
Yeah.
like to be able to see and hear and feel tangible differences other than just numbers.
Different textures.
It's I know even myself, um, on Linux there's a command that brings up this like these resources, these system resources,
Mm.
and there's this other program that does the exact same thing, but it looks cooler. And I use the program that looks cooler, even though it uses up more resources. It looks cooler and it looks nicer, and it's easier to comprehend as a result. Even though it's pretty much the exact same in terms of functionality, it's just got color.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing about design, how it can often be used to control emotions, to control thoughts, which I think is quite beautiful.
Mm.
And it's why this might sound a bit controversial to some extent, but I think some of the best music is actually soundtrack. And the reason I think it's some of the best, and it's not to say that obviously,
No.
regular
I
music
know.
doesn't do
I
the
think I
same
know where
thing,
you're going with this.
but soundtrack music is specifically designed to make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It is specifically designed to get you in the right mindset. In Avengers, when they play the Portals theme, they're
Yeah.
playing it specifically to get you in a mindset while watching it. That is the aim,
In Jaws,
right?
when they play
When
the dun dun dun.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
It's powerful
mm,
because, like, let's just think, you're just hearing things. It's one of our main senses that we
yep,
view. It's not just,
yep,
like, sure, you can have jump scares that can be terrifying with, like, no sound and then the sound just ripples
yep,
whilst the image also appears. But it builds you up, it interacts. Sound, despite being something you hear, you can also feel sound, the
yep,
vibrations in which sound moves. If you're in a cinemas, you can hear every note in the way they talk when they finish their sentence, from the pop of their breath. If you're actually feeling for the vibrations, you there's more feeling revolved in sensory
yep,
information that's being given to you than just being able to hear it. Obviously, you're
mm-hmm,
seeing it at the same time, which can interact and help. It's like when you smell a food and it tastes exactly like you smell, which always it's like puzzles me. And then you have some food that like you smell it and it tastes nothing like it smells,
yeah,
which again
yeah.
puzzles the shit out of me. Like, how the hell does that work?
And even at times the lack thereof of sentences.
Mm,
Take the final fight in Naruto when they begin fighting and there's no music.
mm,
Normally there's music in fiction, but then when you have a scene where music is devoid of where it should be, it it sort of turns on your other senses. It makes everything else about you engage and connect with what's going on in front of you in a more extra sensory sort of, not extra sensory, but you're gathering emotions and you're gathering thoughts
yeah,
from more than just from beyond sound,
yeah.
which I think is very interesting.
And a lot of it actually has to do with preconceived notions as well as
Yes,
like things you've
yes,
seen prior. Because like if you take like some of these like scary tracks to someone who's never seen a scary movie, you go
yep,
somewhere like on a weird island where their civilization is just like a tribal kind of thing, and you play that
mm,
sound for them, they wouldn't fully understand it. But
mm-hmm,
if you did that to anyone else, is like you can understand like, oh, this is where it comes from. This is the genre.
yeah,
because it's repetitive and it's something you would hear normally if you're a fan of watching television shows or movies itself.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah, yeah.
just something that just becomes part of life when you're growing up.
And you look at like, I mean, you look at music and you look at how some music becomes so popular and
Mm.
so recognizable, where um a series, sometimes its music is known more than itself. I
Yeah,
bet you there are more people who know the Star Wars theme than Star Wars itself, which
probably.
is which is a crazy idea. And it's why like people like John Williams is a fucking genius
Yeah,
to be able to do that. And I reckon music, it's why like I reckon music at times, not, I'm not gonna say it can make and break, but music definitely improves a series. Definitely.
yeah.
It definitely in some way is going to have a big impact because of that emotional manipulation it can do. If
Mm.
it's all disjointed and doesn't really make sense, unless that's the point of the movie, in which case
Yeah.
that's different. But if it's just jointed and doesn't make sense when it should,
Like
then the
in
movies
action
or
scenes, like
whatever is not going to be good.
it's like in action scenes, it's fast paced, it's quick. The music's playing, it's bumping and bumping
Yep.
as everyone moves with the kind of the beat almost with how like the camera moves and whatnot. And then you have like a
Yes.
sad moment which can be so slow, or even a romantic moment which can be a little bit of both.
Yep.
And there's other
Yep.
things. And this is an episode. I can't help but bring up One Piece in the anime
Yep.
specifically. In the anime specifically, before Sengoku announces that Roger is Ace's father, in that whole bit of like while he's like kind of like sitting there and playing, in the background they're playing Roger's theme.
Ah.
So if you were watching the anime, you could have actually guessed what the hell was what Sengoku was about to say. And it's just this little
Mm.
piece of like sound things where it's like you can hint to things. You can do
Uh,
more with sound
that
than what you think.
actually
Yeah.
that actually happened in Kill la Kill
Mm.
when I rewatched it. The first time Ragyo's theme plays is with Matui.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I'm like, fuck. That's I
The,
didn't even fucking realize that.
there's also a smaller
And that was
one.
beautiful. That was beautifully done.
Yeah. I think there's a smaller one I remember as well in One Piece is Daz Bones. You could have figured out what his power was when like he was playing and fighting with someone, but we never really saw it. It was just like him making a noise,
Right, yeah, yeah.
and you could have guessed what it was. Even in the manga, I think it has like the kanji or whatnot for that specific
Mm.
thing, so you could have guessed what it was
Oh,
before
I
actually
mean
seeing
sound
it.
effects.
Yeah,
Like even aside from music. I mean that's another thing, having sound effects portray something in particular, because
oh,
it's the reason why they'll often take sounds from something completely different. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like um in SpongeBob when you have the dolphin laughing, that's not actually a fucking dolphin, it's a kookaburra.
yeah.
But
In
they
Jurassic
want
Park, it's not actual dinosaurs. I mean, where are you gonna find actual dinosaurs? It's turtles having sex.
yeah, yeah. And it's just I like how they go about it. I always find it interesting when you get people coming on and and showing how they made the sound, or how they got to the sound, and how they engineered it in some way,
Mm.
and their thought process behind it and all that.
Typical.
And that's very interesting. I think it was in um Index, when they changed the sound of Toma's
Mm.
fuck, what was it called? I haven't seen Index in ages. His hand thing. Um,
Yeah, the noise that it makes,
Imagine
like when
Breaker.
it.
The noise it made
Yeah,
in the first two seasons was fucking great. Now, eventually season three's noise grew on me, but I still preferred
You know
season one
what?
and two's noise.
You know,
And that,
I was going like
look at you.
speaking of Index, I've been watching a certain series of the Railgun variety.
Right. I still
I
need to get to
rewatched
Railgun
Railgun
season three.
recently. Like, I
Yeah.
finished it 2 days ago, and fuck me, Dead season 2 is so much better than season 1.
Mm.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you can finish your music shit, and then we'll just talk about a certain.
Yeah. No, I've finished
Okay,
my
okay.
music. Yeah.
My fucking god. I always forget how good the series actually is a lot of the time. But sometimes it's like, fuck. But that was also one of the things where it's like, for me, Railgun didn't get good until Toma.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first season of Railgun. It was a nice story. It introduced its characters. I still hate Kuroko because fuck her. She's an annoying bitch. Yeah. It had its episodes. It had its fun. I like the antagonist because she's not really an antagonist, but she also is and whatnot. She's someone who's just trying to work towards a goal of like saving the children and whatnot.
Yeah.
And as well as I like that character because Toma just kind of dumps her on Mikasa.
Does.
But that was majority of like the first season. That's all I really register with it, as well as like obviously Sarton having a lot more voice in that season and having her little moments. Whereas you go into the second season and it's just
And my
so
boy.
different.
My boys in that season, so it's good. And I was good.
That's
I
good.
love how the sort of process of season two was just let's make season one of Index, but like focus on this particular part more,
Yeah.
which
Which
is
was the
very interesting.
which season 2 was the main foundation of the Mikasa network.
Yep.
Which you get a lot more information out of than you ever do in Index, and the Mikasas are already just a thing that's there, kind of. And it's like, and that was the one thing when I was watching Index, thinking, okay, and it wasn't really till watching Railgun did I understand what the fuck was happening.
Which is interesting because I saw this. I think I saw season 2 first.
Yeah.
So when I was watching Index, it was like it made more sense. I'm like, yes, these. I know these girls, but if you would just watch Index first, it would have been like,
Actually,
right, fair enough. They're clones, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what one of my favorite episodes is in all of Railgun is the episode where like the cop lady, you know, like the kind of her partner, like just kind of like we follow her for like the episode, and all she does is run into Index characters, and it's hilarious.
That does sound familiar.
Like she runs into Index herself, and it's just fucking hilarious as Index runs off to chase the spinning garbage bin. or like the nun girl before, like, and this is all like before like everything that happens in Toma's story really happens, because like that person's still at the other school, and she's just like, I want all the hamburgers. They are delicious. I need them all. And it's just one of my favorite episodes that I watched, because it's self-contained and it's so good at the same time. You get to see all these characters, but it's definitely season 2 really pushed things out of the water. You get a lot more with level 5s, obviously, with that being the appearance of Accelerator.
Yeah.
And Accelerator doing his shit, and also Accelerator getting punched by Toma. Just things like that, normal things, and of course, my woman.
Yes, Mugino. Yes.
Mugino.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, she was great.
A crazy psychopath and like her fight with Mikasa was amazing.
Yeah, that was cool.
And obviously watching just the evolution of her character kind of become like this just like presentable person to the deranged psychopath that she becomes at the
Yeah.
end of the series is still amazing. You also obviously have that character who's a lot like Toma. but
Which
he was
one?
with the one that was with Mook, you know, and that like
Oh,
the group.
Hamazura?
Yeah, Hamazura.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the one.
yeah, yeah,
And like
yeah.
just like that little, like there are little scenes like later on in the series where it's like them two together is like one of the most unforgettable things for me because they're so fucking similar.
Yeah.
And they're just surrounded by women who are just randomly powerful.
Yep. Yep. Beautiful.
And they
I
just
still-
have dudes.
I still think one of the funniest episodes is where this is an index, but it's where Last Order takes the headgear off one of the clones, and the clone pulls out a fucking gun and goes chasing after her. I don't know what it is. It's just a child stealing these goggles, and the person she stole it from just pulls out a fucking rifle out of her bag because of course they still have the fucking rifle, and chasing her, and then meeting up with Toma, and all that. That just funny.
Like obviously, if I'm gonna rewatch Railgun, I'm gonna rewatch Index. I'll get to it soon. I mean, I like I said, I only did this like finished it 2 days ago. It's great. Season 2 amazing. Spectacular. But definitely, it was just always one of those things where it's like, I did prefer Index a whole lot more from the start. Because I could see like how I might be able to like drop Railgun after the first series. Because it is a little bit more self-contained, despite like Toma was there for a very limited amount. He just kind of dropped that scientist woman on her, and that was it.
And I mean, even second season, most of it was a retelling.
Yeah.
Just expanding upon an already told story. So
Which,
I mean,
it's
still very good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it also helped with the world building as well.
Yeah.
A lot more than the first season of Railgun really ever did.
I mean, we definitely saw more espers and all that.
Yeah.
In Index, not really. In comparison, although of course in Index we saw more magic people, which was, it's called a magical index, so it's expected. But yeah, it is interesting to see them. Some different ones focus on different things.
Let's be honest, we forget that Railgun doesn't have Best Boy in it.
Oh yeah, true.
Tsuchi Mikado was not in it. Yeah. Therefore, it's instantly worse than Index. But that's no also the thing, when you were showing me this, because this is an anime series that you got me into.
Yeah.
When you were showing me this and saying like Railgun is more popular, I'm sitting around. Why? Because of the lollies? Do people like the lollies?
I don't know.
I know.
I actually don't know the reason.
Popular.
I don't. Maybe it is. Maybe it is because of the girls. I don't know. I actually don't know the reason why Railgun is more popular. I mean, I feel like it's actually more Misaka, so it might be the female thing, because I more see Misaka around a lot more than Railgun.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I feel like more people know that. Fucking remember Samir?
Yeah.
He for some reason he had fucking seen Accelerator without having seen Railgun and.
I just assumed at the time it was because look, it's new.
Yeah, but still that I don't know, that surprised me, and that he was actually enjoying it, which admittedly not everything you have to know.
No.
Prior shit, but still, I found that quite funny.
But still, Index, because it has more of a story and a plot that moves a lot more forward, instead of it feeling just like separate arcs that kind of revolve around the character and less impact to the world, is why I kind of fell off the boat in the first season. Whereas that's why the second season is so much more enjoyable, because like you said, it is kind of a little bit of a retelling of different plot points that occurred in Index. But because you get to see more, and there's more characters introduced, there's more characters actually properly developed, and not just of like the two school girls and like their little groups, like what Congo was introduced, as well as
Yeah.
the other Esper who goes to the same school as Misaka, the
The
mind
level
controller
5.
one.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
her name, but
I think it's
yeah.
Shizuru or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah, like she
but
gets introduced like I think in the first season as well, and it's like okay
yeah.
that helps develop the world. But it's like how long did it take us to see like that seventh guy?
Yeah. And another, I think another interesting thing in Index, I feel like there's far more. It feels like some of the things that happen are more. I don't want to say important, but they just feel a bit more integral,
Yeah,
right? Because
I mean in the third season is like the pinnacle of just having a
yeah,
fucking war.
yeah,
They had a war. That's
yeah,
essentially what happened. And even in
yeah,
season two, you even saw a precursor to a war that might be taking place.
yeah,
Mm.
and um, and then like I mean even when you do follow other characters in Index like Accelerator,
Yeah,
that it's actually like important. It actually plays into
yeah.
the larger story at whole with Last Order and all that.
Mm.
So which I think is an interesting difference. But
I do
then
think
again, I mean, in the end of the day, Railgun is a spin off,
yeah,
and so its goal is going to inevitably be to tell other stories
yeah.
that aren't
But
related to the main plot.
still having one of the most probably iconic antagonists in the story being
Mm,
Accelerator
mm, mm.
as well. Like that's just one of the
Yeah,
things where it's like, yeah, he was a big antagonist until he really met Last Order.
and I'll tell you what I mean. Look, I liked Accelerator
Mm,
even before Index,
mm,
but his like sort of redemption arc in Index is what made him even
mm.
more of a favorite character of me.
You know,
Like in Railgun, he was sort of all right, yeah, he's cool. I
what?
like his power, but then once he got his story in Index, it was
Yeah,
like okay,
yeah.
I like this character
Honestly,
a lot more.
one of my favorite episodes in Index. Like again, it's another one of those like one-off episodes. It's where Last Order and Index kind of hang out with the opposite partner. So Index hangs out with Accelerator, and Last Order's with Toma.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love seeing that little interaction, and then eventually them going back to their normal partner that they're with, and seeing
I,
that kind of stuff. Because there's more. It's
I
not
remember
more.
there was this scene. I didn't catch it the first time watching it, but the second time it got me. There's this scene where Accelerator's walking home,
Mm,
and he hears these people yelling, and he uses his power to block the sound waves.
yeah.
But on the second time watching it, I actually realized that the people were yelling was Toma and Index,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Index was yelling at Toma, and he just shuts off his thing. It's fucking beautiful.
But that's one of those things where
I
it's
love
like
it.
it feels like this world is being lived in by the characters
Yes.
that we're getting to know over
Yeah.
time. Like even like we see Toma in passing quite a bit
Yeah.
in Railgun.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of
And
like walks on and goes like, yeah, well,
and it makes sense because
yeah.
Academy City's not big.
No, it's not big,
It's
and
like
it's also like a place for students, so it makes sense that it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna
it's
see
like
these people hang
it's
about.
like an eighth of Tokyo, but at most it's a quarter. But I don't even think it's that, which is tiny.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
small.
tiny.
That's small.
Um, so it sort of makes sense that yeah, that of course they would meet each other a bit, or be in close proximity to each other.
Or
That is
hang
a
out
small
at
area.
similar establishments like the McDonald's or whatever it's called. The
Mm.
McDonald's, yeah, whatever. Of course they're gonna hang out in places like that. Of course they're gonna interact. Of course, at times you're gonna see each other.
And it's great. It's great to see, and it's always nice when you see a character in the background or a character you recognize. You go, it's that character.
Yeah.
I recognize that. It's always
Definitely,
nice.
definitely, just like a big recommendation from us to like just go and watch this series
Yeah,
because it
beautiful
is a
series.
series that I don't feel like gets a lot of love.
Nah.
Like, unless you're deep in the community, which I don't, I'm definitely not. It doesn't get a lot of love. The one thing I will say as well, it is a bit hard to follow sometimes.
Yeah, because a lot of
Yeah.
what also happens in light novels
Mm.
which I eventually will get around
Yeah.
to them.
It's not just that. It's also
But
the
yeah,
amount of like organizations and groups you have to follow and understand.
yeah,
And I know in the
yeah,
light novels, there's only going to be more.
yeah.
Like I already know
I
about
mean,
like it's like five other religions that you eventually learn about.
it's a very information dense series.
Mm.
I will give it that.
But
It's not simple.
but if you can sit around and enjoy the anime, which is the way I'm
Yeah,
taking it in
of course.
over everything
Yeah,
else, it's like yeah, sure, I'll do it.
yeah,
I'll vibe. Season three
yeah,
of Index is by far my favorite season of all of them.
yeah. That was great. That was fantastic.
Like I think as well as like because I watched it weekly as well, or like bi weekly because I watched it every like second week.
Yeah, yeah,
So like watch 2 episodes in a week. But like I watched it like just like bi weekly, just kind of like vibing with it, and like not just that, but then when I eventually came back to it and like rewatched it, it's like oh this shit slaps. That shit's so
yeah,
good.
yeah. Mm.
Like it definitely feels like there is some sort of payoff. And obviously the inclusion of more characters and more side characters in the story that we didn't get before, or even characters that just show up at some points and become more integral to the relationships and characters later on.
Yep.
Like obviously, one of my favorite characters, I forget her name now, the one who becomes like a saint or whatever.
Kanzaki.
Yeah, Kanzaki.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's very heavy in terms of the beginning and early stages of
yeah,
Index, but then kind of flops off in the background a bit until she's needed again.
yeah, yeah.
Which she's essentially just the leader of this kind of group who follows her, and even
Mm.
within that group, you have like that new character who kind of like found Toma when he got kicked out of the plane. Just and she was vibing with him, and I like seeing that relationship grow because it's another character that like I really enjoyed. Or even Ursula Aquinas' story, and
Oh,
you and I are
Ursula,
both massive
legend.
simps for Ursula.
Ursula, what a legend.
Like
One
her
of
story
the
about like how
secret.
she like changed from the different churches, and of course
Mm.
the legendary scene of all right, there are two doors, and there's a one
Yes,
of them's a
yes,
bathroom, which is
yes.
one of our
Oh,
favorite scenes.
that is brilliant.
That's
Where
when you know you're
he
unlucky.
knows, he knows. Okay, if I just randomly pick a door, it'll
Mm,
be like wrong. So he has to rationalize,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter because he's a fucking idiot. There are two fucking showers. That's brilliant.
So
That was
he opens both doors, and both showers are being used. One by Ursula, one by Index.
and then he gets bitten.
Yeah, that's right. Toma getting bin. That's the moral of that's also one of the things that's just kind of like so interesting that Index really does just appear into the story by just hanging
Mm.
onto Toma's apartment
Oh,
guardrail
the best.
balcony.
No, this is also another fantastic scene where I forget her name, the girl that has a crush on Toma, and she
Oh yeah,
comes
yeah,
to
yeah. Yeah. The
his
student,
room.
the student, the principal or class rep or whatever. Her, she the one.
No, the girl that keeps offering him the towels. That's
Uh,
part of the other
yeah,
church, and she
yeah,
comes to his house and she starts like helping out around the house, and
yeah.
Toma gets pissed off at Index because Index just does nothing. So he gets her to clean the bathtub, and then she ends up fucking disintegrating the fucking plumbing. So he
That is
gets pissed
hilarious.
off at her even more. That's brilliant.
It's like, but she did it with a sponge. It's like, what the hell? What the hell?
Yeah.
She put acid
Oh,
on that sponge and started cleaning the bathroom. What the hell happened?
oh, it's
Mm,
beautiful. I mean, I also love their comedy. The funny parts are always. It's just sort of my comedy, which is what I like. It's just the jokes they do. I just enjoy. Um, but yeah, that's a fantastic series. I always recommend that. That was
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
I like how initially this was like artistry and technology, and then now it's
Oh
turned
wait.
to
Uh,
index.
well, I think that's just generally why I love these kind of episodes where we don't really have a
Yeah,
topic
yeah,
because we can
yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of like talk about whatever's like going on, whatever we're doing in our kind of like lives.
Mm,
Like like all the boys, all my friends, went on essentially a vacation. I was
Yep.
left behind because I had shit to do. But
I
so
was there,
that's
but
also
I
why
came back
Alex
early.
isn't here because he's on vacation from his stressful life. Yeah. What the fuck is he?
It was fun. We fed the kangaroos.
I don't know. I just assumed you just reenacted Vagesh Wizard or whatever.
Oh, we did. No, we did.
Yeah,
We definitely did that.
that's
And
that's the
then
thing. None of my friends talked to me at all. That whole time, everyone was away. No one said shit to me.
I knew I was gonna come back.
Yeah. You were gonna come
So I
back
was like, no.
earlier, so that's fine. But like, Alex hasn't really said anything to me that like I didn't start.
Yeah.
Like he sent me a photo of you, and that's basically it.
What was I doing?
There's like a little table in front of you. There's like a beer, and you're just like standing up in front of the beer.
Huh.
There's fire.
Right. Fair enough. I was probably drunk. If it was the Thursday, yeah, I was drunk. I was
What day was
I was off. I was in another
See, my
land.
friend's getting drunk without me. It was the 18th.
Oh,
So yeah, February.
no, that was the day after, wasn't
Friday.
it? Friday, yeah. If it
2
was,
days ago.
yeah, okay. Then if
Friday.
it was the Friday, then I would have. I mean, I was a little bit drunk on Friday, but not as much.
Unless he sent this to me late, obviously.
If he sent it to you late, then I would. I could have been pissed.
I think this was on Thursday and he just sent it to me late. Because it's nighttime and he didn't send it to me at night.
Let's see how I'm standing.
You're looking like you're standing there just owning the world.
Yeah, no, I think I'm off me rock. I think I don't. Yeah, no, I've got my bottle of mead there, so I'm off me. Well, either I'm off me rock or I'm about to be off me rock.
To describe this, alright, in the foreground you have you see a little bit of fire. Then there's just like this little table, like an outside kind of table.
Yeah.
With 4 legs, and on it there's just like 2 bottles of alcohol, and then Caleb just sits standing there, just like, what's going on?
That was it. I was gone. Because here's what happened, right? So the first time I went to, we went on holiday up to that place. We did the drinky, and I got like proper. That was the first time I got proper like. That was it. I was out of it. And I wanted to reenact that, but the problem is I was a bit. I had the bottle of mead, and then I'm like, I'm alright. I'm not too off. So maybe like I've got an immunity or something, or whatever. Maybe I've just got resistance to it or whatever. Alright. So I'm like, okay, I'll drink. I'll have some more. I'll have a bit more stuff. So I got, it was like a JD and Coke or something. I don't know. And I had that. The problem is it hadn't hit me yet. Yeah. And then it hit me, along with the JD and Coke or whatever it was, and that was a ride. I was gone. That was it.
That's one of the things. I don't think I'll ever push myself that far to get blackout drunk.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm more just like, I can get drunk if I'm in the mood to. And as well as just like, if I'm ready, I'm vibing, okay, I'll get drunk. But keep in mind as well, it takes a lot to get me drunk.
True.
And that's just one of the things that I have naturally going for myself. Is that I will be fine after drinking a lot. And like I said, like last time, like when we were drinking, like when I was with the boys and I was drinking, I just drank kind of like straight bourbon. And it took me a long time and just to get drunk.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't blackout drunk, but like, it was enough to be like, I was not
like
myself.
Having a hangover? Like, no, I've never had a hangover.
I don't know. I mean, because like sometimes when I stay up like late, and I'm tired in the morning, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I sometimes can't even tell if I've had a hangover or not.
I've never had a
Um,
hangover, but that was the one interesting thing. That it's like I'm feeling like I'm getting drunk, and obviously if I push this, I will get like drunk.
yeah.
It'll still take a lot, but like I will do it. But uh,
Mm,
but then
mm.
but then again, I was like looking around and like I remember everything that happened. Like
Yeah.
like you see in media all the time. That's like people just forget what the hell they were doing when they were drunk or whatever, and they just wake up with a hangover. I'm just thinking, I know exactly what I did. I knew
See, with
every
me,
single choice I made. I remember everything. Of course, like in my normal memory, I forget a lot of it now because I don't think
yeah.
about it. And it's not active in my brain. It's just one of those things where I was like, okay, I just forgot it. Okay. Yeah.
Because when I'm, the funny thing is that because when I'm like really drunk, I still actually am.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I'm quite lucid still.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
However, if I had to describe it, it's almost as if I take a back seat
Yeah.
and I'm sort of,
Everything's just funny.
I know what's happening, and if I really, really try,
Yeah.
I could keep myself together. But then it's just funny
Yeah.
not to.
Th-
So
th-
I just don't because it's just funny.
That's exactly what happened to me. I just took a back seat and like I was like, and obviously because I was a little bit tipsy at that point. Like me on my phone, like I was just staring at my phone, thinking it's gonna take me a while to text this message in because I was going so slow. But I was just like pushing my concentration level all the way just to type in like a text to my brother.
Uh,
But no, I think I'm responsible enough not to drink myself into oblivion.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know when to stop.
I'll tell you what. Actually, really, I just sort of drink. Eh, I
I
sort
know
of
when to
drink
stop,
when
and that's when
it's
the
more
bottle's empty.
convenient. Yeah. Um, and then even then, I only get like that drunk on
Mm.
special occasions.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've only ever been that drunk 3 times. All of that's been on a full bottle of mead. Um, so that's
Yeah.
I know how to get to that level. Like if I drink the entire bottle of mead,
I
it'll
ha-
get me precisely
I
there.
had mead for the first time this year. It was delicious.
It is delicious.
It is very delicious. Like I just thought it was like some weird like spirit wine kind of thing. I didn't know what it was. I really didn't. I had
It's
mead.
just a
It's great. It's great. It's
it's
delicious.
just a fortified wine.
Yeah,
So it's just honey wine, precisely what it is. I don't actually know
it's
what the
great.
difference between a fortified. I know I heard it some of the difference between a fortified and a non-fortified, but yeah, I like fortified wine. It's pretty good. I still have a bottle of port that I haven't drunk much of.
Wait, in
Port's
that
alright.
photo, is that bottle half empty or half full? Nah, you just drank it, didn't you?
It's empty.
It's empty.
It
You
could
drank it. You
either
drank
it's full or it's empty. I
it.
down that bottle rather quick. That bottle did not last long.
You were
So because
slurping on
what
that
happened was
shit.
is I asked like Dean and Vigesh and all that like if they wanted a bit because then I was
Yeah.
just gonna drink it straight out of the bottle. Like once I open it and I start drinking it, it's gonna be gone within like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So um I gave them a bit and then yeah, 10 minutes. That was it. The bottle wasn't there. Well, the bottle was there. There just wasn't anything inside it. Half full, half empty.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's empty. They drank it.
Um,
And they didn't share. Like, none of my friends shared with me. I wasn't there, but like, I wasn't even
I
off
would
there.
have, but I mean, I don't think it would have been safe to operate my phone. Put it like that. That probably wouldn't have been the best idea. I don't even know where my phone. Oh, that I put my phone on the bench and just kept it there. Um, didn't even barely touched it.
Yeah, because everyone who would have messaged you was there except me,
Yeah,
and I left everyone alone, except Al, because that was funny to annoy him.
he's funny. We did play D&D there, but it was fucking chaotic.
Was it?
It
Like
was it was
I think in the group chat, like I saw just some photos of you guys playing D&D, and like someone was looking so sad or whatever. Wait, who took my character that I made? Did anyone take my character that I made?
Which one did you make?
I made ScoMo Gobnob.
I don't know who took that. I know Jack was the naked dwarf. That's literally. Oh, and Jake was someone who shot everyone in the head. He just had a gun for some reason, and he just shot everyone, and drank, which was fantastic. It was a shit show.
It was.
Like no one. Well, I wouldn't say no one, but very few people took it seriously.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Very, very, very funny.
Why would they
Watching the
take it
video.
seriously when they can not?
Oh yeah, true.
Did anyone enjoy playing? Or
I think other Jack did. So yeah, I think he did. Other ones I don't know. I think they enjoyed it for the shit fuckery it was, but I don't think we will be seeing them in our campaigns. But yeah.
I'm already planning on taking a little bit of a break from our campaign. The story will continue on without me. Alex and I have worked some shit out.
Yeah.
Where it's like to make this possible. Just because, like I said, I am heavily stressed out, and I don't play fucking games.
Oh
anymore.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's one of the things where it's like I've taken out that gaming aspect of my life. Besides like games, I can really just like play by myself, and I don't need anyone around me to kind of just play it. Like that's why like Pokemon works.
I suspect that shall change when Skywalker Saga comes out. Or the Skywalker Saga will fall under that umbrella.
Yeah, it kind of falls on that umbrella.
Yeah.
I assume just because like it is that game. Unless like there is a multiplayer aspect to it, then I'm more than happy to play with you.
Yeah.
Like online multiplayer, that would be amazing.
It probably would be.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's fair enough. I mean,
yeah.
Even me. I mean, now with my uni starting back up, Jesus.
Playing with people is getting harder.
I mean, even going to Phillip Island was just
risky.
Like that is no like serious like I was barely able to go, like barely, but it was just I just had to sort of make a few cuts here and there, but even then it's like just so the schedule was so tight. I mean, you see it now how hard it is to schedule D&D sessions and all that now. With my uni starting up and when other people's uni starts, other people's work and all that. It just
that is one of the things I'm kind of grateful for. Is like I know that I have a lot more control over my timetable. So I'm happy about that. Like even like we do our normal things on Wednesdays, which is the one thing that somehow remained safe. The one thing we do on Wednesdays every day. That's the one that fucking thing is safe, but nothing else. What the hell, man?
It's hang on, shit, I forgot. It's something that I was sort of planning on doing because I was talking to Alex about this, but I'm thinking of doing my own campaigns again, but being like within my own worlds and all that, so I can do whatever I want with it. But my sort of plan for that would be literally just when we're able. Like I wouldn't plan for a day. If we're all on, we're all on. Do a bit. If we're not all on, tough fucking luck. We just don't do it. But of course, I mean, that's just how I. If I start my campaigns up, that's how I'm probably gonna go about doing it. Just because I just feel like it's easier. I'd rather get a game out than not, even if it's
that's also
an hour.
like one of the reasons why I do play D&D with my friends and you guys as well, because it's one of those games I can multitask with at least.
Yeah.
And and obviously I don't play a lot more games anymore, but I can still like be there, play games. And then of course there are some times when I just get addicted to a game in a sudden burst, like I do with Balloons Tower Defense 6.
Yeah, you've been playing that a lot, eh?
Yeah, but no one's played with me. No one's
Oh,
played with me.
I just install it again.
But it's
Yeah,
something easy that I can just kind of vibe with and play, and I don't have to think
yeah,
about it as much as I would other games. And
yeah,
also, like, sort of the capacity to play games and just like, like I want to do these things, but like I'm too busy, and it's like if something's gonna have to be sacrificed, it's gonna have to be that.
yeah. Of course, of
But
course.
I will still like, I'll fucking grind on Skywalker Saga.
Skywalker
I'm not
Saga.
completely getting rid of
Much more.
that from my life.
Yeah, too important.
Too important, too
Um,
important. I'll still like play games every now and again. Like it's either I'm playing a game or I'm reading. Those are the two
mm,
throw-ups.
yeah,
But obviously,
mm.
because like we did our trip to the city and we bought a lot more manga, I'm doing a lot more reading now because, of course, I am.
You got my manga, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
if I get more manga, I read. If I get a new game, I'll probably play the game.
Mm,
But no, I'm not like
yeah.
actively like seeking out just like buy games, play games, do shit like that. It's not like in high school. It's a lot easier. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
oh, it feels like life's too busy, despite us going to school less. That's the weird thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You're so much
That's
more
interesting.
busier, but you have more time. Like I only go to school for 2 days a week. That's my schedule, 2 days a
Yeah.
week. And for work, I'm gonna try and make it 3 days a week. I go to work,
Mm,
but still, that's a fucking 9 to 5 job, and that's annoying as well.
mm. Yeah. It's crazy.
Mm,
I think it just things eventually just stack up.
it does, yeah.
When you're in high school, it's fucking piss easy, but then after that, it's
Less
like, oh fuck.
responsibilities and less things to think about.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
this is like as well as like this is like the first time that I'm, and you I assume as well, like are going to uni full time, actually at campus.
Yeah.
That's
I
that's one.
mean,
It's one of the
I
other things.
went.
It's like
I went when
yeah,
I first started going to uni. I went a few weeks, but um, that it wasn't for very long.
yeah, and like and my 2 years have already been like fucked over. And then like we have a bunch of friends who are gonna be finished this year because it's like their third year and that's all their
Yeah.
course is. And I'm still
Well,
studying because I'm doing it too. I'm getting 2 degrees.
I deferred a
Yeah.
lot of. I deferred my second year, so it's like
Mm,
those guys are gone. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
That's one of the things. I was saying this. I was saying this to someone like a couple of weeks ago. It's like I feel so strange about starting uni as a third year now, because like I remember like it wasn't too long ago that I was that person in first year having like a third year student in my class and thinking it kind of feels odd, and now I'm gonna be that person.
yeah,
Like I have to start a minor this year. I don't know what I'm gonna minor in yet, but like I would be starting from the basics.
mm, mm,
So I'll be surrounded by like first year students. Of course, for me, because my age is not as bad, but also because of my
yeah,
looks, I look older than my age.
yeah. That's true. That's true. You know what's great nowadays?
What?
I fucking love it when I'm no longer asked Friday.
Mm.
No one thinks I'm a child anymore, which is just
Of course, there are still.
it is the
Yeah.
best feeling.
Yes, I know. You can just.
Okay,
Yeah.
I only got this is literally the first time I've been asked in so long,
Mm.
and that's when I was with Jack.
Yeah.
But
Because Jack is
when
baby face.
when I'm by myself, I'm very rarely asked.
That's one thing I do think. Like I feel like it's more suspicious when you're in a group, like with friends,
Yes, yes,
than when you're
yes,
not.
yes. That's true. That's true.
Because when you're with your friends, you're a little bit more stupid,
Yeah,
and that vibe will come off of you. But if
yeah,
you're alone, you're just a dude. You're just a dude trying to get a drink. That's really all there is to it.
yeah. Which that's
But yeah, like
it is interesting.
like my timetable right now, like is essentially I go to class for 3 hours, just a 3 hour class on Wednesday, in the middle of the day. That's it. That's my class. So I get to come home and then I get to do whatever I do, and then vibe with the boys when we read and voice act because it's fun as fuck, and I really love voice acting. And then my Thursday, I'm dead. I have every other class on Thursday, and all my classes are like I have 2 classes that are 2 hours long, and then one class as well. Again, that's 3 hours long. That's my day. That's my Thursday's gone. Like, sure, I'll be home late, but as soon as I get home, I'm just gonna eat dinner. And then, but there's also that aspect of socializing that I'm really looking forward to. Because like at the end of last semester, like I did a couple group assignments, and they were a bit weird to do. One, we worked really well together. We got into calls, we interacted. One of them was one of the friends I at least made over the year, not just someone I just met. And then in my other group, it was more, none of us talked. I was the only male one, so I didn't know what to say. And I was sitting there going like, okay, I finished my work. And like, I was one of the first ones done. I'm just thinking to myself, I thought I meant to be the stupid person. Media's been lying to me. I thought girls were meant to be smarter than me. Why am I the one who did shit? It's one of those things where you're like, why? Why me? What? How come this happened? I know I'm an idiot, but come on.
You know what's incredibly interesting though? Like, just with the sort of nature of uni in comparison to things like high school, the very fluid nature of it.
I prefer uni. I prefer remember uni so goddamn much, but like I haven't gone that much as well.
I remember a week or so ago, I had a one of my classes. I went in there for like 20 minutes. I was only in there for like 20 minutes because while he was going over the answers for the first exercise, I completed the second exercise, and I'm like, well, fuck, this code works perfectly. So, well, then I guess I'll just head out because I've done everything, which I just think is the beauty of uni, where sometimes it's just like, yeah, well, if you don't need to go for this particular thing, you don't need to go.
But that also sucks sometimes because like my class and course needs that interactive nature that I have not gotten with other students. And it's like, I do want to make new friends, I do want to interact with more people, but it's just been so hard to do online, in an online setting. And now, like, a lot of the people, like, I know, like, or I at least have been around, like, in classes with, are basically just gonna be finished this year. Most of them are. Because, like, I remember, like, not many people did double degrees. And, like, in one of my... Not many people did double degrees in the same way that I'm doing it. Because, obviously, I'm doing media part-time. Like, my media course is advertising. So, that's one of my degrees, is advertising. But, however, that's not what a lot of people do. So, a lot of the people I meet in that kind of sector of uni, a lot of them instead do a double degree in marketing and advertising. So I meet a lot of people like that, and they think I'm doing the same thing until I tell them, "No, I'm not. I'm sorry." But still, it's like at least like we'll have like shared classes and half the time together. Still, and then it's like I think like there was only like 2 other people that I know of starting from beginning who was doing the same degree as I was. And still, it's like there's so many classes, so many things. It's like, and it's like I'm still doing like second year classes because obviously I'm doing 2 degrees, so it takes me longer to do crap. And it's like, oh, this crap, and goddamn. As well as other shit that I'll have to do is like work for like what is it, like just getting a certain amount of like work for like an actual like design company and business and crap like that I need to do. That's part of my credits and whatnot. And just random shit like that. It's like, God, I have to do so much. And it feels weird because like I'm at this halfway point. And it's like I know I'm at halfway, but it's also not that long. until I'm done. And I've been working all this time to to do something. It's so weird to feel like it's like I'm halfway, but I feel so much closer to the end than I ever will have. And I don't really get the sense of achieving or doing anything at this moment because I just don't know people. I haven't made interactions and connections with people. It just feels weird to me. It's a weird thing, and just going to uni like all this time full time, despite being in lockdown and whatnot, it just sucked.
Yeah. Lockdown fucked over everything.
Yeah.
It did. It fucked over everything.
It really did. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful now. I'm going back in person. It's. I mean, fuck! It's tiring.
100 years ago,
But
our ancestors had to deal with wars. Us.
yeah,
COVID.
it's just Oh, it's so nice to be back, and just going places and just just
being a member of society.
yeah
And not just
yeah
hiding in a hole.
yeah, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I pray. Like, I'm not religious, man, but bloody Nora, Allah, Zeus, okay, please don't put us back in a lockdown. Like, for fuck's sakes,
Nah.
this has to. If I can just have at least semester one just be all offline, I'll be happy. But hopefully, just all of it is because
Yeah.
yeah yeah yeah.
I agree with this. That's what I want as well.
Because it's a different thing, I mean, doing things online. I've been the thing is like, especially teachers. I mean, teachers have to
Yeah.
fucking create a connection and do all that, and
I
then
think it is a
students
bit
is
more
just
chill for those uni teachers compared to like high school. High school would have been the most stressful teaching position.
I feel so sorry for like high school shit. Like both the teachers and the students, they've been robbed. It is what it is.
As well as honestly, a lot of younger students in primary school have been wrong because missing
Yep.
those fundamental years can really kind of
Yes.
make you suffer later on.
Yes. And I was even watching a video today, and these guys were bringing up the fact that kids, when they're growing up in primary school, during those years, they're actually developing a lot of emotional recognition skills.
Yeah.
They're actually supposed to be building up, being able to recognize when someone's feeling sad or happy or whichever, but then they're all wearing masks.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit. And it's like, on one hand, yes, it's necessary. On the other hand, it's like, now this is causing other problems, which is just, it's crazy, man. Crazy.
That's just one of the things with the masks as well, is that I've been on trains. So like that's really my form of transportation anytime I was actually able to go into like the city. And I've seen people that I know, but I haven't been able to like I never went up to them and just like kind of asked them because I wasn't sure if it was actually them or not. You know what I mean? Because they're wearing the masks that's covering half their face. So unless I have a full picture, I don't know if that's you. It's too hard to kind of guess, especially considering like, some of these people I've only really seen before COVID happened, and like in high school and whatnot. It's like, are you who I think you are? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Strange thing. That's one thing I do want to go back to. So it's just like voice acting. It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
I love voice acting.
It is fun.
It is ridiculously fun. If you get like just a couple friends together and like you have an invested interest to read something, or you want to, or in my case, which is the biggest case, because every series we go into, I'm the outlier, typically. But just like if you want to show them something, or even just experience the series in a different way, reading it with your friends is such a great way to do it. especially when you're voice acting characters, and you can have so much fun being as stupid as you want.
Yeah, and even putting your own spin on characters and doing what you want with them, and
Hmm.
yeah, it is very fun, and you know, I find it I find it a bit hard to get into a habit of reading
Hmm.
things, but when we as a friend group actually read stuff, um I feel like that helps me read a bit more because
Yeah.
there's obviously a schedule there
Hmm.
that I can plan around, and it's funner and like, a bit more engaging. Because before, I mean, we were reading together, but
It was so.
it was literally just silence.
Yeah.
And that was bad. But then one day we're just like, hey, why don't we just read
It
out
was
loud?
because we were all physically together, and we were all
Yes,
looking at the same screen instead of our own individual screens.
that
So,
was
but at
beautiful.
that point, like, we can all just kind of read and voice and do shit, and like, and it's something I never expected to enjoy and love. And it's like, fuck, man, I would love to do voice acting. I think
It
voice
would be
acting is
fun.
so fun.
It is fun, especially when you get to scream like an idiot
Yeah. Oh, and one of
or
the
be
things
an
that
idiot.
I think always helps me is like in the idea is like anytime I meet a lot of like people who are not Australian, they always get interested in my voice. I don't really get it sometimes, but because
Mm,
it just feels kind of normal to me. But it is one of those things that's interesting.
yeah. I mean, I suppose a lot of people are um people from other places are always interested in people
Mm.
from other places' voices.
It's also like the way you change your voice. Like in voice acting, the hardest thing for us, I think, is a lot of the time doing female voices.
yes, yes.
Because with men,
That's always interesting.
because we're all male, it's easier to change your voice to different versions of a male
Yeah,
character. But with
yeah,
females, it's just like a default almost. And
yeah.
beyond that default, there's just like the way you say the lines. And
Mm.
that's all. That's the only real difference I can really do. Especially when you have a deep accent or voice,
I'll tell you
it
what's
kind of
interesting.
sucks.
Something that I've tried to sort of do a bit more with the female characters
Mm,
is just not try too much,
mm,
and instead just try and just act a bit better instead of just trying to get a female voice. Because in the end of the day, I'm just not
I mean, right now,
like Nikki.
yeah.
Just fuck it, Bogdad. You know what I
But
mean?
that's what
Like
we said.
whatever.
That's what we told you to do.
Yeah, but still, it's still, it's
Mm,
I find that very enjoyable, and sometimes we're just given a
yeah.
character a voice that I know they shouldn't have, but it's
Yeah.
just funny, and it's just great, you know.
And that's one of the things. Like when we are rating, when we are rating, and one of the things I try to do because I'm typically the one who makes all the casting choices.
Mm,
I typically try and give everyone like their favorite character,
mm,
and like sometimes that can be hard because like there are some characters where it's like definitely you feel like you could do a better job than other people.
yeah, yeah,
Where it's like obviously like you want to voice Madara, right? But
yeah,
if we're talking about this from a natural perspective, I think I would be Madara
yeah, because of the deeper voice.
because
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
deeper voice and the way I can actually portray it. But I'm more than I'm not, I don't really care that much. You love
Mm,
Madara, so of course you're gonna voice Madara.
yeah,
I'm not gonna sit there and complain. I'm just thinking like there are obviously other versions like that where it's like one of us could be very different and better, and also like the way we voice act as well, like a lot, and just getting typecast as well sometimes. It's
yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
Like giving Alex the uh more homosexual people, or the
Dummy thick,
people with all the idiots, or
male
the
dummy thick.
pompadours, or
Mm,
the black guys. He gets a lot of black guys for some reason.
yeah,
Um,
because in a lot of series, and a lot of them act the same way.
yeah, that's true.
Mm,
That's true. Um,
that we've done so far.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I've played some of them, but not a lot. Like Alex has. Alex has played a lot more. And then there's some ones where it's like, really? I'm him? Out of all people? I'm him? Like, I'm Saitama? What? It's one of those things where I'm just a little bit bamboozled. That's like, I'm Saitama? What?
I mean, and I tell you what, one thing I've sort of been trying to do more of
Mm,
is not worrying about what the person sounds like in the show
mm,
and just coming up with my own version. Now, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's easy if I have
yeah,
absolutely no um uh,
yeah,
exposure to the show.
yeah.
But then, like with Naruto, I've sort of come to the conclusion with like I'm not going to try and mimic Naruto's voice.
No,
Fuck that. I know I can't.
that is
I
a
don't care.
very unique
Whatever.
and
Whatever.
individual voice, and you're not going to copy it. No.
I am probably just going to do Tsukishima.
Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
just going to have him Aussie, and that's it. Um, you know,
I,
I will more focus on trying to do
yeah,
something that fits his character more so that something
I'm,
that is like his other voice. You know what I mean?
I'm still kind of like working around and trying to figure out how I want to do Kakashi and Sasuke.
True.
Because, like, obviously they're the same type of character. So, like, the way I would have to voice them, I need to have some sort of distinct difference. Because
Yeah.
in those early bits, they are together a lot.
Mm.
And later on,
Yeah.
sometimes I just don't have to worry. And then sometimes, you just get so inspired from the show, you just do their voice!
Yep. Literally. I was watching Bleach. I was watching Bleach, and I'm like, oh, how did he 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 did not change he did not change his answer for that one. He just that was just
Because if
copy
it's
paste.
so distinctive in
It
your
is.
head,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
like, I have to do it. I don't care if it destroys my voice. It doesn't even destroy my voice anymore. I did it so much, it doesn't destroy it.
Yeah.
That was just me naturally changing my voice.
Trunks. Trunks
Trunks
was
hurt
a
you.
pain in the ass.
Trunks hurt you.
It did.
But one thing I'm so glad that, like, after that first session of reading Trunks that you did, he fully said, like, Ethan, props to you.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of that distortion in my voice and trying to destroy my voice for the sake of making the character work and sound amazing. And I just love the fact that he's like, Jesus, Ethan, what is wrong with you?
I can tell you what, I'm not doing that again. I'm not destroying my voice again. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening is that it would get my voice, and then I'll get to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. But I'll have to take. We wouldn't read as much because it's like, fuck, this is painful. And then Chama was a bit.
He did a great job, by the way. He did a great job.
Why, thank you.
That's one of the things that we said to him after he was done. He actually did a really good job. But of course, if it destroys your voice, it destroys your voice.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting used to destroying my voice.
I'll tell you a character I did have fun voicing, but not because of their voice, but because of just their lines was Zamasu. Because I just loved being that like person that's just hating on fucking mortals and all that and just saying all this crazy shit. I love when I get to say cool shit. That's it. Right? Like in my Latin, one of the best things I've ever said was simply "I am Mercury, messenger of the gods," and I'm like that. Like that is just sick. To just be able to say some cool shit like that is just awesome.
What do you mean? You voiced Goku?
I do, and whenever there's a Kamehameha, it's fucking sick. It's fucking cool.
And I voiced Vegeta.
Yeah.
Which is something I trained for.
You did.
Yeah. I trained and practiced that Vegeta a lot in my time before we went and read Dragon Ball Super. To the point that that's the one I really had to practice and just try and get. And obviously, because Broly's not a real chapter or arc in the manga, we chose to watch the movie instead, and I felt better about myself and more confident about the way I was doing Vegeta. Because when you really look at it, Sabbath doesn't change his voice as much between the characters. No. It's just the way he's performing, the way he's doing it changes and alters. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if, like when he's playing Toma's dad and when he's playing All
Mm.
Might and when he's playing Piccolo,
Yeah.
they're very similar voices.
Yeah.
Like that, he doesn't change it much.
But
But
there is obviously
the
a noticeable change because of the way the character speaks.
yes,
That's the
yes,
one thing.
yes, precisely.
I do Genryu Sai and Big Man Kaseki the same way, but
Yes,
they feel different
but they're different.
because of the way
Yes,
they speak.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's I can't remember who it was. There was one character that I treated very similarly.
The
Where it
big
was
word.
like uh, their voice was pretty much identical, but
Mm.
just by using different words and just by doing it in a different way, I'm able to make them different characters.
Mm.
It could have, it's not precisely, but Senku and Ukyo,
Yeah.
have similar voices for, or even Senku and Frieza have
Yeah.
very similar
That's
voices.
the only thing with
But
Fraser. I think is you do try and go a little bit more
yeah, and
high pitch with it.
I try to be more venomous,
Yeah.
be more just like insidious. Meanwhile, with Senku,
He's more
I'm just
casual.
I'm yeah, more casual.
Yeah.
Um, I do be a bit insidious when he's going mad scientist mode and
Yeah.
having those ideas. But in general, yeah, I still try and have him more as like he's a human kid, not
Yeah.
a fucking not a fucking emperor of the universe. Um,
That's one of the things where it's like I have a naturally deep voice, so I understand like being gifted
yeah,
um, deep characters, but I can also throw my voice around it. Like I do get typecast a little bit to play mad scientists a lot.
yeah.
Like I voiced the mad scientist in One Piece. I voiced the mad scientist in Bleach. I voiced actually both the mad scientists in Bleach, Kisuke and Mayuri.
Who would you say I get typecast as?
Ah, I don't know. A little more soft-spoken kind of
True,
characters, I would say,
true.
as well as females.
Females, yeah,
You
true.
get a lot more females than a lot of us. Of course,
I
we
was,
still
I
do them, but
was, I think I was most of the females in Bleach.
yeah. I mean, you were the two main ones, as well as if you want to add a
And
third. Like
then
you were the most iconic females in Bleach. Like looking
I
at like
was.
who was my iconic females? What I did Ichigo's mum, which is not that big. I did Soifone, which was probably one of my biggest ones.
Yes, yes,
Soifone.
yes. Yeah,
Whilst in
yeah.
Bleach, you did Rangiku,
Rangiku, Rukia,
Orihime, Rukia, um,
or Yoruichi,
Yoriichi. Yeah,
Big
you
One.
did all the main ones. I think you were also Kukaku Shibo as well, which
I
was the
was
female.
too.
Yeah.
Was too, yeah.
But then I was also
Yeah,
I was Kyan. I played a lot of
yeah,
the
yeah,
captains.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
only
yeah.
females like you didn't really play um I was heavily like I played like no main characters. The closest to main character I ever got was Renji,
Yeah, true.
and my
Yeah.
biggest females were Soifone, um, Captain Unohana, who doesn't really talk that much, but
Oh,
when she
yeah,
does, I
yeah,
try to do what she does when
yeah.
she's like a little bit scary.
You know what I
And
mean?
Nell,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, of course.
I did Nell a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
because she was in the story for quite a bit. But then
yeah,
that way, it was also very distinctive the way I did Nell because oftentimes she's just a little child. So it
yeah,
was easier
yeah,
to perform that voice than to just do a female voice.
yeah, yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Nell.
Yeah, that's yeah. Um,
Or my way of like I did actually like with Konohamaru, I didn't practice shit. Like when I'm going to do Konohamaru, I don't practice shit. It's just his voice is so distinctive. I feel like I can just do it. Hi everybody, I'm Konohamaru. It's just one of those natural things I feel like I can just do and mimic without thinking about it too much. What's hard though is Gon. I have the voice Gon, and I'm still trying to figure that out.
mm, that yeah. I think the thing I have to figure out, or maybe that's what I was thinking of, where how my plan for Killua and Kurapika, their voice would be pretty much the same. It would just be how they go about speaking,
Yeah.
the way they hold themselves, the words they say would be a bit different. Which makes it in some ways makes it easier if they end up talking to each other because I don't have to change my voice.
No. They don't talk to each other much, which is, I think, when you have a character who talks to characters a lot. Because I basically did Hyoga and Kohaku the same way. So when they talk to each other, I kind of changed the way Hyoga talked to close to match my Yuri. It's like,
yeah,
that's one of the hard ones where it's like sometimes. And it's also one of those things I find so interesting where it's like you don't change anything about your voice, but it's more just the way you speak. Like if I speak in my own natural voice and get to do more posh sounding lines, I essentially become a posh vampire. I become an English vampire because of the deep voice and then just like I'm more concentrated and slow about my pacing of the words. I'm not changing my voice at all, but it just becomes something else. Well, you see, my fair lady, I'm not changing my voice. It's just like I'm just talking slower than my normal Aussie accent. I find it tough to do an Aussie accent, like the stereotypical Aussie accent. I find it tough to do it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm more confident about doing an English accent than an Australian accent. Which is weird.
I find it interesting because what I tend to do is when I try and do a stereotypical Aussie accent, I end up going into a British accent, which I find quite funny.
There's one thing that's going to be very interesting with that. I think once we eventually roll JoJo's, which for all we know might be the next series we read. We never know. One thing I would like to do is like maybe towards like the end of Dr. Stone, before we're actually at the end we roll it. That way I have more time to draw new profile pics. So more like when we're at least like when right before our last session we roll. I think that would work out better.
Yeah.
Like our second last section, just at the end we roll, and I think that'll give me a little bit more time to make our new profile pics. And then we get to talk more about Dr. Stone, because who doesn't want a Dr. Stone review?
I know, that'll be amazing.
Especially from Caleb, because it's the first time he's experiencing it. As well as the series coming to an end, and like I'm reading it weekly, so like I get to see it kind of end, and by the time we catch up to it, I think it should have ended by then. We are definitely going through this arc a little bit slower.
Arcs. But things have been a bit busy. Very busy.
Like this arc only really is like about 30 chapters long or whatnot.
Yeah.
And we're still just kind of like trucking through.
Yeah.
As you do.
As we do.
As you do.
Alright. Well, for me, I will have to be getting off soon.
Yeah, that's fine. That can be the end of this
Very
episode.
busy.
Yeah. This wasn't meant to happen.
Yeah.
Fucking Alex.
Literally. No, it was. There was even a chance. Like technically, I wasn't even supposed to be here, but it was just. I just happened to be home early, so yeah. That's why I was here.
Which means I'll have to do an episode by myself. So yeah, that'll be the end. Alex, you miss out on getting a new picture, so I guess he can just keep the old one. You know, his old one will just be. Yeah, that's about it. All right.
You should send it on Discord, and we change it. and he sees me change it, and then he yeah, that'd be funny.
If he
Anyway,
clicked into this stream at all, because I know he saw the alerts for it, but if he clicked into it, he would have seen something very different. And I know he hasn't because he probably would have messaged me. So, who knows? But either way, that will be the end of this episode. We were here for a bit. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bye-bye.
Whatever that
Enjoy your life.
Yes. Yes. That was a good idea.